Everyone, I'm Alani Olubukola, and today is the 22nd day of April 2021. And I just want to draw some of the things I learned from today's mass indoctrination service. Brethren, when do we start doing good? We are going to read the book of Hebrews chapter 10 verse 24-25. And when we read that place, it tells us about us, let us consider one another. If we look at that word in the Greek translation, in the Greek Bible, it says katavoeo. I don't know if I pronounce it well, but it means to observe fully. It means to behold, and the translation means to consider. And when we talk about that, we will observe that in the world today, people do not care about one another. Brother Eli made us to know that when he was young, that when they were going to school, neighbors that were even kilometers away from their house, they know themselves. All the houses they pass by on their way to school, they know themselves. Why? Because life was lovable then. Life was easier then. But nowadays, even those living close proximity do not care about you, even the person next door. In the true church, we have an obligation. And remember earlier, I mentioned the word katavoeo, which means to observe fully. This is a commandment in the church for brethren to observe one another. We need to be provoked unto love and to good works. The reason why we are commanded to gather together, and the gathering is in the church, it's not because of offering as some do, but the main reason for gathering is for the brethren to see one another, to look at each other, to hear from one another, also to know if anyone is in need, if anyone is sick, or anyone has a problem. We have to be concerned. We have to have a sense of care for our fellow brethren. In the true church, you do not meet in the chapel without greeting one another. If we look at the book of Matthew chapter 26 from verse 1, it admonishes us that we should watch and pray. That watch talks about observation. That watch talks about being careful, being vigilant. And we watch and pray so that we do not enter into temptation, because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Watch and pray and observe. Why? So that we do not enter into temptation, so that any temptation that might have been presented along our way will not have effect in us, and we will not fall into the vice of the enemy. You must ensure that you do not ensnare yourself on the way because of temptation. But when you observe, you can see things around you, then no evil will be able to come near you. This is the main reason God commanded the brethren to gather together, according to Hebrews 10 verse 25. The reason for our gathering is for us to be able to show our concern and care for the brethren, to be able to do good works, to exhort one another. Exhorting one another is a maintenance step for a Christian, just as you maintain your car for it to function properly. But in some churches, the intention of gathering together is to collect money. If you don't have money for offering, you will feel discouraged. But if you truly obey what God says, or if truly you don't have money, don't you think God understands? We are not to discriminate that person. We are commanded by God to gather together in order to help such a person among us. James 2 verse 1. What do we mean when we are gathered? Acts 20 verse 7 elaborates this. This is an opportunity for us to study together. 1 Corinthians 14 verse 26 also makes us to know that this is a reason, one of the reasons God created us and asked us to gather together. When God was creating the planet Earth, the morning stars, they sat together, and they were called what? The Son of God. What were they doing? They were shouting for joy. You see that in Job 38 verse 7. this is often what the world was doing when the world was created. But before the creation of the sons of men, the angels were the one singing praises unto God. And this was what Paul and Silas did in the prison, and miracles started happening. I pray God will help us. We will be able to dwell on His word, exhort one another, grow, and worship God and appreciate Him in every day of our life. God bless.